Welcome back to the show with Robert and Gemma. I'm delighted to say we're now joined by Labour politician Harriet Harman, who's now Baroness Harman. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, and I've interviewed you many times over the years, but now you are in the House of Lords.
I am.
Oh gosh, you said that in a slightly pained way. How's it going?
Well, I'm actually going in next week, but,
Okay.
Having been in the House of Commons, for all those years, for 40 years, and then, we make our decisions in the House of Commons, then we have to send them off to the Lord to be sort of trawled over and scrutinised, and we're always a bit, not so pleased to be second-guessed by the House of Lords, so I've kind of swapped sides and been doing the scrutiny, but I think there's going to be also some changes in the House of Lords, which I'm going to be voting for, so...
And before you left the Commons, I think you were the first holder of Mother of the House, so tell the viewers what that is.
Well, there's always been this kind of position called Father of the House, which is the longest serving MP. So after an election, the Father of the House gets everybody together who's elected, they decide who's going to be the Speaker and sort of presides. And I thought, we're just fed up with men doing everything all the time. Surely there should be a Mother of the House as well. And then I thought, oh, and that's me, actually. So,
Because you were the longest serving, right?
Yeah.
40 years as well.
Yeah.
83, I guess.
Yeah, it was really, really a long time.
Wow.
So well overdue for me to stand down, which I just did in July. But that's the longest serving woman MP. And there are now more women MPs than ever before. And the House of Commons has really changed. So it's all to the good.
OK. Now, part of the reason we're talking today is that Harriet has joined a podcast, which is rather good, which is called Electoral Dysfunction. And I'm sure, there we are, there they are. So who are the other two people in it, Harriet?
Ruth Davidson, who's a Conservative woman from Scotland, who was the leader of the Conservatives in Scotland and actually did really well for them. And Beth, who is the political editor of Sky and did incredibly well in the leadership debates in the last general election. And what's interesting for me about it is that instead of actually throwing rocks at the other side and trying to win every argument, it's a kind of sitting down in a discussion and kind of listening to different points of view. And I think it's a really good way to be discussing politics, because sometimes it's not right and wrong and black and white, and it's more of a discussion rather than point scoring.
Oh dear, we have so many arguments here. I want... Now listen, Gemma can come in here because Gemma has a podcast called The Trawl.
Yes.
And that's Gemma and Marina, and you are hurling brickbats, actually.
Not at each other.
No, not at each other, but at...
No, from the outside inwards.
It was mainly at the Conservatives.
Well, we're both quite like-minded, but actually ours...
What's your tip for Harriet?
It's relentless hard work. You've got to be slightly mad and be really passionate, which we both are. For us, it's never been about sort of making any money, thank God. And but we've got this. Actually, ours is affirming. People come to it for a bit of light relief, and also because we're normal women talking about politics. I think that's quite unique. But I love yours. I've listened to yours as well. And I think it is great.
Are you having to record weekly?
Because it was Jess Phillips,
weekly.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Jess
Yeah.
Phillips. But, I mean, it's really good that Gemma's in the field as well, because overwhelmingly the podcasts that are to do with politics are men talking about politics. And actually, politics matters to women as well, and women have got political views. So it's really good that they are. And it's not good that women's podcasts are about relationships and cooking and lifestyle, and that men's podcasts are about politics. So I think it's quite a breakthrough electoral dysfunction. I'm really pleased with it.
Yeah.
I think we probably first met in the 90s, Harriet, when you were an opposition MP, and then obviously Labour got their landslide, and there was a big moment for female MPs. And you spoke about this recently. I was really interested because at the time I was like a young guy, I was in my 30s, and I remember thinking something weird here, that they've assembled a photo for all the Labour women. Blair has gone in and photobombed it, and then the headline is Blair's Babes.
Oh,
and do you know, even I could tell.
Did you think that at the time?
I thought,
Were you very
I thought
woke
it's
then,
really...
Jeremy?
In fact, when Cameron got in, they called them Cameron's cuties, if you remember.
I just
the same thing happened.
Come on.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I want to just show here. So I'd heard a story, and I can't see it. So Harriet is here in the lime green.
I am.
But I thought there was another photo I saw where you deliberately got behind Blair and sort of hid.
Oh.
I mean, because you were cross that he'd arrived, right?
The thing is that what had happened is for years and years and years, there was virtually no women in the House of Commons. It's like when I first joined, it was only 3% women, 97% men. So it was like a men-only business. And that was a big breakthrough moment where we had 101 Labour women MPs going to be in the government, changing the face and the agenda of politics. So I organised that photo call. And then Number 10 heard about it and they were like, Tony Blair's coming along, you must be delighted. No, this is supposed to be a photo of women. But Number 10 insisted he came and stood at the front, and it changed the whole dynamic. So instead of it being about women together strongly entering into politics, we look like his fan club.
Yeah, it looks
And
like
then you get the babes
he's
thing.
getting the credit for, like, look at all these women.
It completely changed it. And then we were called Blair's babes, and we were like, it really diminished us. And after 100 days, we did a thing about what the women have done in the first 100 days, because otherwise people just wrote us off. And then, as you say, Robert, it was like Cameron's cuties. The idea that all women in politics have to be something by relationship to the men in politics. Actually, they're their own people with their own agendas, and they've got there by their own determination.
Well, gosh, the fact that I could see that even at the
You
age
were
of
really
30
good marks to you, Jeremy. You've gone up in my estimation now that you noticed it. I'll tell Tony Blair when I
just
see him.
remember
It was
thinking-
obvious to Jeremy, if not to you.
I just remember thinking, Harriet's going to be cross. I just thought that you're going to be so cross. There we are. And then 30 years later, you confirm you were. Let's have a look at a little bit of the podcast. Beth, Ruth, and Harriet talking about Theresa May.
Do you and Theresa May have a relationship? Do you? Yeah, she's really turned into quite a sister. Actually, she didn't used to be at all, but she's actually
quite famously, Harriet, you called her that she's not a sister after she wore that T-shirt saying this is what a feminist looks like.
You know, to give her credit, she really changed. And the work that she did on domestic violence, as Beth said, and human trafficking has been really important. I'd say she's an expert by experience of male oppression, and she's not pulling her punches now.
Great stuff. So tickets are available for the Electoral Dysfunction tour. Harriet, do stay with us. Let's talk about some
And
other
unlike
newspaper stories.
Oasis, there are a few tickets left.
Oh, you
in
haven't gone
Salford,
dynamic
Liverpool.
pricing.
Some are booked out, but there's a couple that are
Harriet,
left.
do you ever have Cilla Black in your podcast? Because Marina and I do. I don't know how we managed to sandwich her in, but we do.
Well, she keeps getting mentioned. Cilla Black keeps getting mentioned.
There's lots of opportunities for surprise, surprise.
Oh,
No,
I see.
right,
Oh,
yeah.
I see.
I strongly recommend it.
OK. The iPaper has a story about hereditary peers to be removed in legislation to reform the House of Lords. Now, these are of course, you'll get a chance to see these guys up close, mainly guys. Lord Bufton Tufton of whatever. Do you think they should go?
Oh, totally. I mean, the thing is that the House of Lords has got a job to do, which is to go through in detail what the House of Commons has decided. But the idea that part of the team of people doing this work, which is legislative work, are there because they're the son of Earl somebody or other, or Viscount somebody or other. I mean, that has just got no legitimacy
I love it. I'm
or
sorry. I know
credibility.
you all three you're against it as well.
No. So, look, I accept it's anachronistic. I accept it looks crazy. However, one, they work hard. Secondly, the House of Lords is a pretty incredible chamber, as you're obviously going to participate in it. And they really scrutinise government. They give government a hard time.
Yeah, but Robert, how can you...
And sorry, just let me finish, because you're also going to keep two of them, the Lord Chamberlain or something or other, as I understand it. So if it's wrong for some hereditary peers, then it's wrong for everyone. And the second thing is, once you attack the hereditary principle, then what do you say about the monarch? The monarch is hereditary.
Well, the monarch's not doing legislation, to be fair.
The monarch has to sign off. The monarch has to sign off the new prime minister. So the monarch has a role in government, even if they don't interfere on a day-to-day. So once you attack all hereditaryism, which is what you're doing, you're basically saying all hereditaryism is wrong. And so the next stage is the monarchy. And I would say, yes, it's anachronistic. Yes, it's a little
There we
odd,
go.
But it works.
I thought you were going to be on the other side.
I know, I think
relieved.
that's absolute madness.
It's honestly, rest assured,
And
this
there's
is
only 90
nothing to
of them.
do with... Rest assured, Robert, you can relax. It's not an attack on the monarchy.
But
It's
it's
just saying
principle.
there
It's
are
the
plenty
great
of
precedent.
excellent and brilliant people, and we don't have to have people who are there just by virtue of
The compromise-
who their
I'm
father
sorry,
is.
it's
But
stuffed full of Nepo babies who turn up and get 300 quid to do naff all just because they were
No,
born.
that's not true.
That is absolute
Well,
madness.
There are some bad peers who may not do a lot, but my
I'm talking about the
experience...
hereditary peers.
There's only
It is
90
madness.
There's only 90 of them.
So whatever.
and there was a very good compromise which Blair did, which they have to elect those, to get in, so they have to be elected, these hereditary peers. But the important thing is the House of Lords actually works. And when I was a minister, the scrutiny of the House of Lords was some of the hardest parts.
I love this. This
agree
is a
with
great
you on
defence.
that,
It's so
you
interesting.
know,
I mean,
but
I
it's so
I,
odd because you're quite a sort of, in many ways, you're quite sort of progressive and
Yeah, I thought he was gonna
open-minded,
be on the
and
other
down
side.
with
Yeah,
the
but I'm also
people,
a
Robert. This is
pragmatist.
very
I'm
odd.
I'm a conservative because if it's not broken, then why
But
change
this is
it?
just
and it
reform.
works.
They're not
The
getting
House
rid
of
of the
Lords,
Lords.
and I'd be much, if I was doing things on the Lords, I'd have much more focus on people who might get in just because from either party who
all
made
right.
donations or whatever it is.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, Michelle Mone, last time I looked, is not a hereditary peer. That is where the problem is, isn't it?
Well, that's what I would focus on.
Yeah, that
to
was
make
a
sure
huge
that people who
mistake.
get in are like you.
I don't think the hereditaries are never corrupt. They've got castles. They're just not amenable in that way,
We
right?
can do a bit better than that, I think. Just not corrupt because you're so rich you don't need any more money.
Exactly.
How many peers are there? Like 800 or something, 900?
Oh, it's unbelievable.
How many of these are? There's 90 odd of them. You know, I mean, you're using a sledgehammer to crack
Okay,
them up.
all right, let's move on. We've got in the Express. This is I don't know whether you're feeling the discomfort of Keir Starmer over this headline, because he's being asked, why did you pay train drivers money that's basically lifted from pensioners, Harriet? And it's quite a hard question to answer.
Well, I think we've got to sort out all the strikes that there have been, and there was a record number of strikes under the last Conservative government across the health service, across the railways, and to get the country stable and sorted again, all of those strikes needed to be sorted out. And most of them were because there'd been under-inflation pay rises for those people, and therefore the strikes needed to be settled to get Britain
So you had
moving
to pay.
again.
You had to pay.
Well, we just had to get Britain moving again and settle those strikes.
Can you imagine
yes.
if the Conservatives had done this, there would be World War III out there. Everyone would be saying how disgraceful it was. In fact, just before the election, Keir Starmer questioned Rishi Sunak about the winter fuel allowance, asking if the previous government was going to keep it. And, you know, if they can find money for train drivers who are on, 60, 70,000 plus a year, to take away from pensioners. And most of the pensioners are not rich. Fine, have a threshold for pensioners earning over 50, 60,000. But if I think of the pensioners in my constituency, they don't have a lot of money, my former constituency of Harlow. And to take away the winter fuel allowance, to me, is completely crazy. I just don't get it.
Do you not quietly think this was a bad move, Harriet?
I don't, because I think that there are some, money's tight in government because of, the financial inheritance, but also there are some people getting the winter fuel payment who really don't need it,
So have a
pensioners
threshold.
who are well off. So I think we're agreed that there should be means testing. So the question is, where is the cut-off point? And certainly there are some people who are entitled to pension credit and therefore should get the winter fuel allowance, but don't. And the government has really got to make sure that you reach out to those people. And also there is the household support allowance, which should go to them, together with the increase the pensioners are going to get from what's called the triple lock. But it's not an easy decision, but it's about sorting out the financial foundations of the country in order to make things better for the future.
OK, I'll mention the Mail because they've come in with a separate thing, which is that there is a pension rise coming because of the triple lock and so on. And the government's saying, look, there's £400 going on the pension and you've got 300 odd coming off. So you're sort of almost even Stevens there. I don't know. This is go on and on, I think, this one. Robert, we have a bit of excitement. I think excitement may be an exaggeration, in the Conservative leadership contest. So have I got my... Oh, it's here. Here we go. Here are the candidates. These are the 6, all right? Cleverly, Kemi Badenoch, Priti Patel, Robert Jenrick, Tom Tugendhat, Mel Stride. This is a little bit brutal here, but I'm afraid I've got to put the cross through Priti Patel, who is now gone. Correct, Robert?
That's right, yeah.
So she got 14 votes. These are MPs' votes. Let's run through them, actually. Go on. Kemi Badenoch got 22. Cleverly,
21.
Jenrick,
28.
28. Oh, you're telling me. The producer's telling me. You can go as well.
Sorry.
No, it's good. I like it. Because the earpiece might fail. Go on.
17.
Upstairs. So 17, says Gemma, yeah? Go on, Mel Stride.
Mel Stride, 16.
So he's likely... So these two, Tugendhat and Stride, are likely to be the next two out. Now, Robert, you start. Let's assume it's Jenrick, Badenoch, Cleverly. Who would you choose?
Yeah, well, the first thing I'd say is I don't think you can say who's going to come out. It's impossible to work out whether it's going to be reality.
Described as the most sophisticated electorate in the world.
Or the
Tory
most
MPs.
we have been described as also the most duplicitous as well. So I don't think it's unknown unknowns, as Donald Rumsfeld might have said. I've been backing Mel Stride. I know he's the underdog, and he's wasn't expected to get through, but he did, and there's some momentum up there, as the saying goes. But
momentum,
yeah.
What he did there.
But the reason why I like him is because I think that we lost trust with the public, and that's the most important commodity in politics. Doesn't matter what the Conservatives said, the public lost faith in us and lost trust. And I also think we need to be affable and not be seen as angry and shouty as a Conservative movement and a government. And so I think Mel is good at that. I thought he was a very good DWP secretary, given bringing through quite controversial things. I think he is an affable, I think he's a very decent man. I also think he's the sort of person who's seen as trustworthy and embodies trust, and I think that he could do a lot. But I accept that he's the underdog and unlikely to get through at this stage.
I don't know who's Labour scared of, Harriet?
Well, I think that actually right now the public have given the Conservatives such a thumping that they're going to have to sort themselves out, and therefore whoever takes over will have to spend most of their time trying to work out what they're going to do about reform, what they do to repair the trust, as Robert has said, with the British people. So I don't think we're particularly scared of anybody. But, I agree with what Robert said about Mel Stride. He was a kind of decent person. The person I wouldn't like to see being leader of the Tory party, not that anybody's really asking me, is James Cleverly, because I think he seems very affable on the surface, but I don't think he is underneath. And I rarely say, pleasant things about people, but I don't
You didn't
think
like
he's
the joke
as
he
he
made
seems.
about drugging his wife.
That just confirmed to me the opinion I'd already had of him. He's not the Mr. Nice guy he seems, actually.
OK. Gemma's got a story in the Mirror. It's just, the headline is Definitely Not Me, which is, again, back on Oasis.
Yeah, I'm one of those people who's been on a real roller coaster. I was so excited, all the nostalgia, got on the devices, sat there for 6 hours, didn't get a ticket, felt gutted, and then found out that so many people had gone through that process, got to the point where they thought they were going to get themselves a £150 ticket, and then suddenly were faced in that moment with 350 quid, 400 quid, making an impulse decision. I don't want to go now, unless anyone wants to take me for free. But that's left a really sour taste in my mouth. Yeah, because it's like it's out of order. You're therefore discounting so many of their fans who just simply can't justify that. It's also, I don't get it, it's for standing in a stadium. It's not rock and roll.
It's made people cross at the band.
Yeah,
and
because
they don't
they
really want
would have
that.
known.
Are they your kind of thing, Harriet?
Oh, I think they're absolutely great. But one of the things that baffles me, we've got AI now and all of this sort of thing. There's got to be a technological solution to all of this. The idea that people sit on their several devices for 6 hours, we can surely do better than that. I think that the sector's got to sort it out. And as you say, it makes people feel really annoyed with the band.
Well, thank you very much, Harriet, for coming in. Yeah. And tickets are available for just 1 or 2. Dynamic pricing isn't going to happen with the Electoral Dysfunction tour. Do enjoy it and go.